Vault of Satoshi halts U.S. Bitcoin exchange service, cites worsening U.S. regulatory conditions. Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, I picked that article just because it was one that kind of summed it up. But Volta Satoshi is actually a website that I use quite a bit.
Oh,
That's where
for
I
real?
buy all my Dogecoin from. I log in and I see that I'm not. You have to be second factor verified to trade in actual dollars. If you're factor one, you can trade like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, all Litecoin, but you have to be factor two to trade with actual currency like US dollars, Canadian dollars. They're a Canadian company. So I go on and I'm factor one. I'm like, what the hell? I sent all my information. I had to send them a copy of my driver's license and all this different stuff to get there. They have a big message on the front page of the website apologizing that they're shutting down all U.S. operations. They're not dealing with the United States anymore, and they say the reason is because the United States is getting very, very anti-cryptocurrency. They're passing a ton of new legislation. They're changing the rules every day, and it's literally impossible for them to keep up with all the new regulations and keep things on the up and up, which they're a very on the up and up company. They keep everything legal, everything legit, and they're saying the way the U.S. is operating with cryptocurrencies right now, they can't do it anymore. So they gave up. They're out of the market in the United States. They're not the first one to do it, and they won't be the last. But the problem is, the more the big guys get out of the United States, it's like you have to go to sketchier and sketchier places to trade in cryptocurrency. And this isn't something where you're just like buying something with PayPal. You have to give them bank information. You have to do wire transfers. You have to send them money and stuff. So you don't want to be dealing with somebody sketchy. So now I pretty much can't buy cryptocurrency. I can buy Bitcoin still. I have a place where I can do that. I think I do that through Coinbase.
Um,
Uh, but you can't buy it. I can't buy Dogecoin anymore, so I got to send Sam his money back.
there's no other place to go. I mean, why is digital currency in the U.S. getting sketchier and sketchier? They sort of cover it in this article. In the post, Vault of Satoshi spoke out harshly against the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the FinCEN, which it said has made it impossible to run its business in a way that is compliant with regulations. Quote, we've made repeated attempts to comply with FinCEN regulations, but their online form submission process will not allow us to post reports from our headquarters in Ontario, Canada. They refuse to accept printed paper reports, and their drop-downs don't include Canadian options, making it impossible to file the required documentation properly in order to comply. I mean, they're talking about Canada, but this is affecting the United States as well, Kyle. I mean, what's going on?
Well, yeah, because there aren't really cryptocurrency exchanges in the United States because the way our government operates, the closest you can get are ones in Canada, which
Hmm.
isn't a big deal. They're right over the border, you know. They allow you to trade in US dollars and everything, but they can't keep up with all the regulations. And let's look at what's really causing this and what the problem is here. Cryptocurrency is on the verge of becoming mainstream. Not necessarily one in particular one, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin.
Hey, U.S. customers that were in the process of being verified will not be able to complete the process. I mean, Kyle, you said you were verified, but something was wrong with factor two or whatever. The
I
company
was factor two and they knocked me back because I live in the United States.
The company did issue a timeline for when customers could expect refunds to be given. Kyle Volta Satoshi was very apologetic to users like you for the service setback, suggesting that the decision, while in the best interest of its business, was not made lightly. Quote from the Volta of Satoshi, we deeply regret that we can no longer service your cryptocurrency exchange, Kyle, needs there in the U.S., and we'll do everything we can to regain your business and relaunch in your country in the near future, stronger than before. So are you just on hold right now, man? I know you're
Well,
really into this.
yeah, they don't know what to do with it, and it's obvious that it's not their fault. I don't blame the bank
Is
because
is the
they're
U.S. and maybe the Federal Reserve forcing out cryptocurrency in our country? I mean, demonizing it. What about that guy that got pulled into secondary by the TSA at the airport for a bunch of like Bitcoin paraphernalia that he had, like pins and shirts and stuff? Kyle, you heard about that?
no, I haven't, but I don't doubt it in the least. Of course they're not going to like cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency opens the doors to a universal currency that everybody can use, and they don't like it because it's not in the hands of the fucking globalists. They want their world currency to come about through the UN and be handled by some giant central bank that rules the fucking world, and that's not going to happen. This is a good alternative. This is positive globalism. It's the possibility of opening up a global currency that we can all trade in, we can all use for exchange, that isn't controlled by some giant bank or some giant institution like the United Nations. It's completely free. It's controlled by a mathematic algorithm. Nobody controls it. It's controlled by the peer-to-peer network that it exists on, and they don't like that because it threatens to put people like the Federal Reserve out of business. Because the only difference between a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and the Federal Reserve, they operate almost the exact same way. It's like less than a quarter of actual US dollars exist in paper form. So Federal Reserve notes pretty much are already a digital currency. The only difference is cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are created by mining that's set on a specific algorithm, and there's a set point at which it will no longer be created. It's completely open, peer-to-peer, open source. The Federal Reserve notes, they're created by some guy in a fucking suit saying, let's print more of them. Let's put more zeros into somebody's account. And they don't like that. They don't like the fact that nobody controls Bitcoin. Not even you, Ben Bernanke. Fucking nobody controls it. It's the people's currency. And I'm not saying that I think 100% that it's going to get to that point or it's going to become the world currency or that it is the best solution necessarily, but it is a move
Well,
in the right direction.
Can you speak primarily to what you see as the positives and the benefits, and let people know what you think are the values of Bitcoin in our country, even as Vault of Satoshi is pulling out of the U.S.? I mean,
Well, here, let's talk about both sides. Let's be real honest with it. Let's start with the negatives. Let's say what's bad about cryptocurrency. And I use Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the biggest one. I invest in Dogecoin because it's new. There's more room for it to grow, to make money on it. But Bitcoin has become an established currency. Now, there's downsides to Bitcoin. The biggest downside to Bitcoin is that it's a fiat currency. There's nothing backing it. There's no gold. There's no silver. There's no commodity that it's based on. It's based on the commodity of its popularity. The more people using it as currency, the more people interested in mining it, the more people operating in exchanges, the more the higher the value goes. So its value is a fiat value pretty much based on the popularity of its use. That's a downside, but that's a downside that fiat currencies like Federal Reserve United States dollars have as well. The only difference is Bitcoin doesn't have as many people marketed in it because nobody's forcing you to use it. In the United States, you're forced to use US dollars. Whether you look at it that way or not, you can use anything else you want. You can barter. You can
Tide,
chain.
Tide laundry detergent.
Yeah, you can use Tide, but
or your EBT credits maybe.
But try and pay your taxes with Tide laundry detergent. You're forced to trade in the U.S. dollar, and the fact that they have an entire nation of coming up on 8 billion people, something like that. You're forced to use it, and so the market fluctuates at a slower rate. Bitcoin, it's an open market. It's volunteer. It's volunteer interaction. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, so there's less people in it. So it has a higher rate of fluctuation. As more people enter the market, the less it'll fluctuate. The good things about it, it's not controlled by a central bank. It's not controlled by a government. It's not controlled by anybody, and it's crypto for a reason. It's hard to crack. So if you live, like I've said before, if you're somebody who lives in the United States.